All right. Looks like we have some waveforms.
Some waves.
Some waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. I'm gonna bring this closer to us, I think.
We're too quiet.
A little bit. Like, I can boost it, but it...
What are the levels like?
I
hear people talk about that on their podcasts.
They're usually using fancier. We're in the green.
We're in the green zone.
We're in the green zone. If you like, I found out there's an option you can turn a microphone into... Like, you can turn your computer into a monitor so you can hear what's coming through the microphone. I hate it. We're not going to do it, but like...
Wait, what?
So, like, a monitor in audio... Like, if you're using a microphone, a monitor is a speaker that sort of projects backward so you can hear what's coming from the microphone, so it's not just... Because if you were just talking to your microphone and the speakers were, like, in front of you,
you wouldn't be able
to hear yourself. So, like, musicians use a lot
Gotcha.
to be able to hear it. So you can turn your computer into a monitor so you can hear what's going from the
microphone. How do they not get feedback when it comes to that sort of stuff?
Magic? I don't know.
Like I see that a lot in concerts, you know, they'll have, like, the monitors, but they'll have the speakers and the microphone.
They might be hooked up to, like, different channels? Is that a thing?
Don't know.
I've used them before. Like, I you know, in concerts and stuff that I've done, we've had monitors, and they've been fine. But
Probably has to do with the type of mic.
I bet it does.
Like, this type of mic is a big broadcast, like...
Right, this is, like, a mic that's actually meant for podcasting, I think.
Is it really?
It's like a consumer grade, like, you'd sit in front of it and talk into it, is the idea.
We're talking about how it looks like a thing from Star Wars.
Yeah, listeners, to give you a little bit... Also, hi, welcome to Catchupcast. So the microphone we're using right now it's a Blue Snowball, I think is what it's called.
Sponsor.
We're not sponsored yet.
Sponsored by Blue Snowball.
My favorite microphone to use when I record Catchupcast, it's that or usually the laptop built-in mic, which, I don't know, they're not horribly different, but there's like I think this has clearer sound. It picks up less of like what's going on around.
Blue Snowball, not much better than the little dot on your laptop.
But it's like round and it's got this red light on it. So Isaac and I were saying how it looks like the little eye that shoots out at Jabba's palace to look at 3PO and R2 when they in leading Return of the Jedi. If you haven't seen Star Wars, you don't know what we're talking about.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. They go to Jabba's palace. Is that the movie came out in like 1983? I feel like we're not spoiling anything.
You're listening to Catchupcast, the podcast where, believe it or not, we do not discuss condiments.
This is episode 20.
20?
Yeah.
Big 2-0.
Big 2-0. 20 years.
20 years. That's, yeah.
And it's significant for that, but also, and I was saving this, this is the first episode we'll have recorded, and listeners, you'll know this already, but Isaac, we are now officially on iTunes, on
really?
Spotify, on
What?
a bunch of different platforms.
Really?
Courtesy of a website called Anchor Podcast. It's like a free website, podcast hosting.
Okay.
So you can upload it and it just automatically like sends out to a bunch of different... So yeah, we're
Do you have
everywhere.
to pay for it?
No.
Is this coming out of your pocket
This
or my
is
pocket?
This is free.
Is this coming out of the company card?
This is coming out of Catchupcast Corporation.
Catchupcast Corp.
Catch Corp.
Triple C.
So we're officially out there.
Wow. That's insane.
And according to statistics, we've got a bunch of listeners in Ohio. I think I'm one of them because I
What?
listened
What's
to a bunch of them.
Like 2?
We're in 3 separate Ohio cities.
Really?
I could pull up the stats right now
Let's
if you
pull up
want.
these stats. Oh my god.
But
That's insane.
most of the stats are in fact me because I was listening to make sure it worked.
Right,
So,
in
like,
different cities of Ohio.
Well, only in Granville.
Oh, okay.
So I've skewed the statistics a little bit,
Right, which is fair.
but it'll let me log in.
Wouldn't be 2019 without a little statistics skewing.
This is true. All right, so in Ohio, our top cities. 4. We've got Granville, which is me. Delaware, which is near Columbus.
Delaware,
Delaware,
state?
Ohio. It's a city
Within
Ohio.
Okay.
Akron, Ohio, which is near Cleveland. And Westerville, Ohio.
How many, do we got charts and graphs and stuff? Or is it
We
just
got charts and graphs and stuff.
Oh my
Here,
god.
I'll
I
turn
love
around so
charts
you can see.
Whoa, that's an awesome chart and graph.
So these are our 3 top listening locations. So in the United States, in Ohio, we got Granville, Delaware.
So those are
Akron,
just
Westerville.
percentages, though.
Yeah.
Like, what's the? I want to see some numbers. I want to see some hard numbers here, Phil.
2 estimated audience size. So like that's not great.
A+.
But we also have a listener in Milwaukee.
How does that?
I don't know how it tracks it. We have a listener in Lübeck.
So what?
Germany,
But,
and in
so
Unity, Canada, which is in Saskatchewan.
But we have 3. So
I don't know quite how that checks out.
Is that like 1/4 of a listen in those
it's like
places
clicked on
adds
it,
up
I think
to
is the
one
idea.
person?
So these people have clicked on our podcast.
Okay. This is so. Can I get this on my
You'd have
app of choice?
You can. Would you like to know on the platforms we're on?
Yes.
We're on Anchor, which is the site we use. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Stitcher.
Damn. Do we have to say it? Do we have to?
No, if you
This is a contract.
You could just look us up.
Are you like legally obligated to say what you about
No,
this
I'm
company?
just really. I think this is really cool.
No, I think it's
also a cool
too.
feature. This is great for the audience.
There's a tab that says money on this.
Well,
page,
that's the thing.
And it's making me nervous.
Is we can apply for sponsorships.
What?
like so the way it works. If we go to dashboard, I think maybe.
Oh my god.
Maybe not dashboard.
But
Might be a new
this doesn't
episode.
cost us any money.
No,
You didn't like put in some Arabian
this was free.
King's credit card.
I've been trying to do this since we started the podcast, like a
Uh-huh.
year and a half ago, and finally
So how do you? Does it only last for a certain amount of time?
no,
It's forever.
it's forever, like unlimited uploads. It automatically does the work for you. I think the idea is it's like for podcasters like us who don't have a whole lot of resources
Right.
to get us out there.
Okay.
But you can apply. I don't know quite how it works, but you can apply to basically connect you to potential sponsors.
Are we making money right now?
No, because I wanted to ask if that was something you were interested in. Is like we wouldn't make much, if anything, but it might be kind of cool.
We can talk Al Capone off the air.
Yeah, we'll do that.
You know. We can.
By the way, listeners, you can actually leave us. I think it's on iTunes is the thing that I'm going to look up, but you can leave us messages.
Like and review. On
Oh
iTunes.
yeah, please leave us.
Hit that bell below.
Leave us a review, please. Like
Make
for real.
sure you go down to bell
We're one
and
of
select
2
notifications
Catchupcasts on iTunes. Also,
There's another Catchupcast?
yeah.
What?
Also using Anchor Podcasts.
Oh,
But
interesting.
ours is 1 word. Theirs is 2 words.
Okay, 1 word.
but
Whoa, they're already up there.
Yeah, I uploaded
What?
them all.
Wow. This is in.
I'm trying to find. There's a
Insane.
way. Maybe if I go to.
Oh, we got the explicit advisory warning. Heck yeah.
So if you go to anchor.fm, well, actually, it might have changed. I'm
So,
not 100% sure.
so, but they can leave us a review on iTunes. Or,
Yeah, please leave us a review on iTunes.
Only if it. No, I'm not gonna say that.
No.
Never mind.
But yeah, rate us, give us a review, let us know what you think. Let the internet know what you think.
Give me some feedback. I'm
But
open
also,
to
you
feedback.
can send in a voice message
A voice message?
that we could put on the show at anchor.fm/Ethan
That's opening a door.
hyphen McAtee, which is MCATEE.
Is that your?
slash message?
But that's but okay. Is
So
that the
basically-
message that you, or is that like a public URL that they can get to?
That's a public URL.
Oh,
so
okay,
that's
okay.
yeah. So anchor.fm/Ethan-McAtee/message. And you can send in a voice message.
we're okay.
We're like an official podcast now. So that's all the business out of the way. 8 minutes in, doing great.
What? Go back to that chart and graph though. I love charts and graphs and maps, which are really just charts and graphs.
So this is like the amount of plays.
Well, that's.
Or published episodes. So
Oh, okay. Because you dropped them
a
all.
lot of these are me because I was testing to see like, oh my god, is this real?
Yeah. Okay.
This is probably riveting for the listeners.
Those
to-
are the amount
Those
of
are-
plays that we get.
yeah. So these
like
are
the
top
listens?
episodes.
Oh, top episodes. Okay.
And this is we can see the devices the platforms people are listening on. Apple Podcasts seems to be our
Go to
big one.
devices. What is devices?
So it's like what they're listening on. So iPhone, Mac, web. I don't know the difference between Mac and web. Maybe it's like
Well, you could listen to it on like the
kind of iTunes
but
player
not
versus.
on like the Mac, the podcast app on the Mac. Or
Again, this is largely me, I would guess.
Whoa, interesting.
Because I have been sort of playing around with it.
So what? Wow. Go back to like, I don't know what. This is cool.
Isn't this cool?
This is great.
It's like our public site.
Oh, we have a public.
Which is
okay.
anchor.fm/Ethan-McAtee.
Interesting. Not Catchup hyphen cast.
I don't know. It might just because I signed up with my name, so maybe it did that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we've got all episodes up here.
Wow.
Because I uploaded because we had 17 out when I got us this.
Sure.
So I uploaded all 17, and then 18 or 19 went up within the same like.
All right.
day.
So how much are you bribing these people? How much does this
I
cost?
promised them my kidney.
Okay.
Both of my kidneys.
Both of your kidneys.
So
You need at least one kidney, I think.
I really wanted.
You only have one kidney.
No.
We have
two
two
kidneys.
Oh, it's a liver. We only have
One liver. I'm not giving that away.
You could donate a part of your liver though.
Just like the tip.
Wow.
The liver tip. So yeah, wherever you want to listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. Which again, the listeners already know because they're listening to us. I'm still gonna keep uploading to YouTube.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
By the way, YouTube listeners, we're on Spotify and iTunes and everything now.
Wow.
So yeah, I wanted to save that for in person.
Wow, that's really cool. Damn, thank you. It's so I'm so grateful that you were willing to front the money for that and pay the bill every month. That's great.
It's only $400 a month.
Oh my god.
No, it's
a small apartment.
I don't know why it took so long to figure out because I've been trying to do this for like a year and a half. But it was a list of best free podcast hosting, and most of them like you can upload like, up to this many megabytes or whatever. And then this one was like free, unlimited.
So what's the catch?
I don't care. I didn't give them any personal information.
Okay.
Just the podcast
credit card
information.
Numbers?
No.
But you did give them my social security number, right?
Both of ours.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's all I thought.
Which,
I mean, hey.
Yeah.
We already spoke it on a podcast. Might as well give it out.
Oh, man. So you were obviously not around this semester.
No, it was pretty out there.
You told me a little bit about it. Do you want to give listeners a little summary?
Yeah, I was in the desert. Parts of the desert, mostly the desert, different types of desert though. Sonoran Desert, wow, I'm blanking on the types of desert. The
sandy one.
Great Basin Desert. Well, the sandy one would be the Sahara Desert, but we weren't there.
There's other sandy deserts like the Mojave and stuff. And you weren't there either.
Mojave's kind of a sandy desert. Sonoran Desert is mostly where I was. Which gets 2 rainy seasons.
And it snows there.
Apparently it does, yeah. I found that out. Personal experience. That was fun. And this year was a big year for snow. It was like the biggest year in like 60 years.
Take that, climate change, people.
Yeah, it's like,
climate change is real. That was a joke.
When you get a 100-year flood every 50 years, it kind of...
Does, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how it works then?
Yeah, because
there's
more
jump
frequent
in the
rainfall.
flood?
And, what?
You happen to just go the flood year?
No, we went at the rainy time. Like, this is the time or when we're out there in the spring is usually... They get a spring and a winter, which they're in the winter and a summer.
Because you went February, right? Like mid-February.
Yeah, February to the beginning of May. Yeah.
And then you were done. You've just been hanging out while I'm struggling and suffering to finish films and write papers and.
I mean, there was some struggling while I was out
there.
No,
certainly,
all
certainly.
cherry, but I also had a lot of paperwork to handle when I got back too, like getting my senior project approved and getting TA applications and job applications out there. So it kind of like puts my whole life on hold for a while, and I like dedicate my entire existence to like being out there and being on this field semester.
Sounds so nice to just.
And then when I come back, I have to like pick up everything that I left off on, which is kind of annoying, but not too bad.
So you've just been chilling since.
I've been kind of busy, actually.
That's true. Life's never not busy.
Yeah.
Even when I was done with finals, I had like a bunch of different things I had to do, which was stressful.
Yeah, it was good. Saw a lot of dead cows. Did I tell you about this?
No, that's really upsetting.
It was really upsetting because there was some of the wilderness areas we went to are Forest Service land or managed by the BLM, which you can get cattle ranching permits like.
I can't just have a cow. I have to get permission.
Well, depends on your land management agency.
Oh, okay.
If it's sometimes with BLM land, they have like open ranching. Like other times, you have to get like a permit. It's not exactly a permit. It's more of a lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
A cow lease?
Yeah. No, you own the cows. So the strategy
But it's land lease for the cows.
Yeah, so the strategy here would be like you wanna make a whole bunch of money on beef. So you go buy a whole bunch of cows. I don't know where you'd buy a cow from, but you get a whole bunch of cattle.
Cow-mart?
Or you raise the cattle somewhere else, and then you go to ranch them. You go to like feed them for a couple of seasons, and then bring them back, slaughter them, and then sell the meat. And instead of you owning the land that you ranch them on, because
you lease it, so you're borrowing.
You borrow it from the government essentially,
Okay.
and so you go to, for example, the Mazatl Wilderness area in central Arizona, which is where we saw the majority of the dead cows. You
Such a sad story.
have a big lease on the land or a cattle ranching permit or whatever, how that works, and you just take your 1,000 head of cattle or whatever you got,
A lot of cows.
and you build some fences and you just throw them in there, and you like
Well, you probably lead them in there. You probably don't.
you
Chuck
don't
a cow.
yeet them into the thing.
Just picture someone like.
But so you do that, right? You put them in there, and then they graze around. They eat a whole bunch of stuff, and they get fat. And then you bring them out, and you sell them. But whatever ones survive, and that's the ones you sell and you make the money on. Whatever ones die, and you just don't deal with it. That's kind of the opposite of farming on the East Coast, where land is really expensive and really like precious, and there's not a whole lot of public land to do ranching on. So what you do is you get like 2 or 3 cows, and you own the property. You like own a little farm in upstate Vermont, so to say, and you like graze them on this one meadow that you have, and you like tend the meadow, and you're like really careful about it, and you like, you're tending these small herds, this like really small on property that you own, and the loss is really low. You don't want those 2 cows you have to die.
You kind of need those cows.
You kind of, but you're really careful about it.
Whereas
with 1,000 head of cattle, you're
you
just like,
don't care.
if a few die, that's like 5% of your thing. You can choose to lose that, right? So it's just a different strategy. And sometimes they'll do ranching by like airplanes, like they'll fly over and like check on their herd of cattle and then like fly out, which is really interesting. But anyways, so the story goes like this. Me and 4 of my friends we have a base camp on the river, and we're staying there for like 4 or 5 days. And 2 of those days, me and my 4 good friends get an opportunity to go exploring on our own on an overnight. We're like kind of off leash, so to say. We're
That's
like,
fun, yeah.
Like, go for it, find a place to explore, check in with us, check in with the instructors, let us know where you're going, and then just go do it. Well, great. So we come up with this really cool plan. We're going to hike down the river. We're going to find this grove of cottonwood trees. It's going to be great. And we get permission, and we go and do it. Pack up our stuff, and we head out. And we're hiking down the trail. We're like kind of bushwhacking because we're close to the river. This is still in desert territory. There's saguaros around on like the southwest slopes and stuff. But it's also pretty densely vegetated with cottonwoods and willows along the river. We're hiking along the river, kind of bushwhacking and stuff. And we smell, we don't hear it, we smell, mixing up my senses. We smell the smell. The smelly smell. We know the smell.
The death smell?
Yeah. And we're like, oh, what is that awful smell? My one friend's like, it's the smell of death. That is what that is. And we had smelled it before, and we had seen a dead cow before on our hike in to our base camp. But this was from far away, and we're like, it's whatever.
But this was like in your face.
This was like getting
in
stronger and stronger with every step that we took.
Gross.
It's like, this is the strongest we have smelled it. Like, that's the smell of death. There is a big dead thing around here somewhere. This is really bad. And I'm in the lead. It's just the 4 of us, and I'm like hiking in the lead. I'm like, keep going. I like turn back to my friends, and they're like, you smell this too? Like, yeah, I smell this. This is awful. And it just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger until we're like, oh my. Like, we can't smell anything else. We're just totally overpowered by the smell of death.
That's awful. I would fucking die.
But we haven't seen anything.
Die.
We haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen, like, what usually happens, you're hiking along and it gets stronger and stronger, and then
you see it.
Or you don't see it and
but
the smell goes away because the wind is going the opposite direction, or you, like, pass it and it's now behind you. We hadn't seen anything yet.
So you're marching, right at this cow then.
Yeah, we're like, it's got to be right here. It's got to be right here. But we can't see it. We don't know where it is. So we keep hiking a little bit. We're going. And then all of a sudden, we, like, turn around this corner of this bush, and it's, like, from me to you, right there. A huge, bloated, just, like, maggot-filled, runny, just, like, awful dead cow. Just, like, broadside right in front of us. Like, boom, there it is. You can't ignore it. and the path goes right next to it. Like, you're walking like 2 feet from it. You know, it's like just total full frontal, like, bam, there it is. Oh my God. We all like pull our bandanas up over our nose and we like clench our face and we just like head down, pack, you know, down too, and we just like book it through the forest. We all scratched up, but we're just like, we gotta get out of there. We gotta get past this thing. It's just so gnarly. Oh. It was so bad. We like kind of huddle up on the other side of that. We're like, oh, did you see that? Did you see? Oh my God, that was totally brutal. That was just, that was gnarly. And we hike past it and we like keep going and we like get out of there. And we, you know, have a good time after that. We like find our camp. We go swimming. It's great. And we have to head back in the morning. And like none of us are looking forward to hiking back next to that dead cow. We want to find a way around disgusting. It. It's just totally awful. But the problem is the river is kind of cut in a way that the steep banks are like hard to scramble up onto. They're pretty loose and chossy, and like you can only go up in some spots, and getting up there is like hard, but then you have to find a way back down. And so for our whole morning, we try to figure out a way to get around it and not hike through the like dense river floodplain and like have to walk past this dead cow. And we couldn't figure it out. Like it just wasn't doable. So it wasn't gonna go unless we like had climbing gear or like even that. It was just too chossy. It was just too crumbly. So we had to go past it again. And like we know it's coming. And that's like even worse almost because it's like remember the spot. It's like just past the cottonwood tree, like right on the side by the acacia bush, and you're like, oh my God. We did the same thing. You just like get ready and like look at each other. Put our masks on and then just like book it through it and just don't look at it. And it was even worse the second time.
Yeah.
It was so gnarly. But that's what multi-use land is like, you know. That's that person's right to range their cattle there, and it's also our right to go hiking there, and like those wants conflict sometimes. And it's gnarly because like that's polluting the stream there. We have to hike around it to go get our water because we can't get water.
Right, you don't want dead cow water.
You know, and it's like really gnarly to look at and awful to see, but
that's how it is.
That's how it is in the West. That's what multi-use planning is like. And I'm not saying that I don't want cattle ranching. I mean, I don't want cattle ranching on public land, but it's also like that's
how it is.
That's how it is, you know. So. Yeah, that was fun.
Yum. Can't wait for my next burger. Did you swear off beef for a little bit after that, or?
No. Not really.
Tastes too damn good. I went on an adventure.
You did?
Over spring break, I went down to the Hudson Valley.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember Ben from high school?
Yes.
He goes to school at Vassar, which is in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Okay, Big Ben or Little Ben?
Little Ben.
Okay. You know who I'm talking about when I say Big Ben?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The clock.
Yeah.
We went to school with the Big Ben.
I just don't want to use these people's
No, that's why I've been...
But you get what I'm... Yeah.
So he had they have a 2-week spring break there.
Okay.
Which is disgusting and unfair. But whatever. So his second week of spring break was my 1 week of spring break.
Okay.
So we took the train out to Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
We stayed at Vassar. He's got a single, so we just crashed in his room.
Cool.
And it's like an hour and a half train ride from Poughkeepsie to New York
City.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd never been.
I've never been to New York City.
So we went down. We he should give me a tour of campus. We got pizza.
Cool. From
this pizza place that was like closing for the night, and they're like, "We got these slices left. Do you want them?" And
free pizza is great.
So we got the pizza. We sat and we ate it. It was good pizza too. It was very sweet sauce, but that's not like the important part of the story. That's just me reminiscing about the pizza. And so the next day we took a train out to New York. It's like the New York metro system. The farthest.
Oh, really? It goes out to
the end point is Poughkeepsie.
Wow.
So we hopped on the metro and took that into Grand Central, actually.
Oh, whoa.
So you come to Grand Central. It's like this underground train terminal.
Uh-huh.
And then you walk out and suddenly you're in Grand Central Terminal. So like walking out and like we've all seen pictures of Grand Central.
Sure.
Like the ceiling with like, the constellations on it and the big ticket thing in the middle. It was so cool.
Wow. Damn.
So we were there for a little bit and then we went to the New York Public Library.
Okay.
So we walked out. Walking out was insane. There are places that have a lot of people, New York City is the busiest place and the most populated place. I mean, it is. It's probably the busiest place in the world, or at least in the United States.
China. All of China.
Okay,
Anywhere in China.
so New York is probably the busiest place in the United States, just with people coming and going. And
yes.
so Buffalo is very different from New York City.
Yeah.
So that was overwhelming, and just like the amount of people and like crosswalks, you just kind of cross when you cross, and the stoplight doesn't actually matter because when there's a massive like 30 people crossing the street, a car can't just.
Right.
So it was a lot of like hive mentality. But we went to the public library, and then we went to it was actually J.P. Morgan's old estate. They've turned it into a museum. We went because there was an exhibit of about J.R.R. Tolkien. They had like some of his original drawings. They had the first ever map of Middle Earth that he drew, which is on a piece of notebook paper with stuff scribbled out, and like it was crazy.
That's cool.
Because that's what my maps look like when I'm writing my stuff. So to see that,
that's cool.
A map that I've only ever seen like a finished.
I could do that.
So we walked around there. They had like his robes from I think Oxford. He was a professor at. Like,
he also fought in World War I, right?
Yeah, and that's what it was World War One.
Yeah.
And that's what inspired a lot of Middle Earth was like the evil and whatnot. So it was.
Cool.
The darkness. There's a biopic about him right now where like they turn World War I into like this Mordor battlefield. Apparently it's just kind of ham-fisted, but it's also kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like stuff will explode, and you'll see like a Balrog in the explosion, which is the big fire demon from Fellowship of the Ring.
Sure.
So that was cool.
Nice.
They also had. I've never like audibly gasped in a museum before, but we were looking at like J.P. Morgan's private collection of books. He had like 2 original editions of Don Quixote. And then we turned and there was this big book, and it was a Gutenberg Bible.
Oh, shoot.
And that, I'd like, my jaw dropped.
Wow, that's really cool.
Because they have 3 Gutenberg Bibles in their collection.
J.P. Morgan has 3
Gutenberg Bibles.
It's a bit excessive. I mean, you think you just need one, but like,
it's the first book ever printed in the West.
Wow.
In the West. It's not the first book ever printed because the Chinese had printing presses long before the Europeans
did. They really?
Yeah. The Chinese invented like everything. And
why didn't
like,
I learn about that in school?
Centuries before, because European history is what matters.
That's true. I did take AP
Only the
US,
West matters.
Instead of taking...
Right, you're not going to learn Chinese history in AP US.
Yeah, I did like AP US, though.
But basically, the Chinese invented everything centuries before the Europeans did. And then we're just like, yeah, we're not... They sailed around and then realized they were, like, more advanced than everyone else, so they just kind of, like, stayed in China because no one else was worth being with.
Like, we got the better stuff.
And then the Europeans got out there and got gunpowder and then, took over the world. But, yeah, so... There were, like, little statues that were from like 3000 BC.
That's really cool.
Which, I mean, it's probably the oldest stuff I'll ever see.
3000 BC?
Yeah, so like 5,000 years ago.
Whoa. I've seen a tree that's almost that old.
I haven't. Which tree did you see?
It was a bristlecone pine in the White Mountains of California.
This was on your first field semester.
Yeah, this was in California, yeah. I did see some petroglyphs.
Like on the caves?
Yes, in some caves in Arizona, in the Escalante River. Really cool. They were only about 2,000 years old. Only about 2,000 years old. But
I mean, the stuff I saw was 5,000. Whatever.
So those were really, really cool.
It was crazy, just like that people were rich enough to own 3 Gutenberg Bibles, to have, these statues from...
Was he an oil man? Was he a railroad guy?
I think Morgan was an oil guy.
Oil man? Or was he a banker?
He might have... It's been a long time since I took a U.S. history class.
Yeah.
But he was one of those big wigs who, like,
Yeah.
robber baron. I don't know if he was a robber baron. But we went to Central Park.
Oh,
that
I
was
heard
fun.
Central Park is actually one of the best places in the country to go birding.
I believe it.
Because it's, like, the only place in the city for these birds to land. And it's right next to the Hudson Valley and the waterway. And, like, it's just really a mecca for birds because they can migrate through the city. And you get to see a lot of exotic birds there and, like, birds from all over the world that are migrating through the Hudson Valley waterway. They have to stop at Central Park.
I did not go birding, but I'm sure that there were a lot of cool birds. Central Park's my favorite part of New York. I mean, we only were in Manhattan, so like I can't say make a judgment call on New York as a whole. Yeah. I liked Central Park. It was pretty. There's like a whole.
How big is it? Like, what's the scale? Like,
it's really big.
I can never like understand the scale of Central Park. Really,
I don't know if I could give it. It's several blocks.
Like compared to Hamlin Park.
It's many Hamlin Parks.
How many?
I could Google how big is Central Park. I could give us an acreage or something.
Yeah, but acres is just weird,
Well, I didn't go around all.
Compared
to
Knox Park, how big is it compared to Knox? Like bigger than Knox, you think?
Maybe a tiny bit bigger.
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty sizable.
Gotcha.
Like
that gives me
because it's a huge.
It's long.
Yeah, and so we sort of stayed. There's like a bunch of rocks and like bridges, so we sat on. I like did some journaling. We sat down. I had a hot dog. I had a hot dog of a street cart, which was like, people do that in movies. I'm like, I gotta do it. I gotta get. So I paid $3 for one hot dog, which was excessive, but it's a street cart.
Nice.
And we sat on this big boulder, overlooking a Donald Trump ice rink. And
a Donald Trump ice rink.
Trump's ice rink. I don't know.
What makes it Donald Trump's?
His name was all over it. It
Oh,
was a
okay.
Trump Zamboni.
Because that's how it works.
We also passed Trump Tower, so I flipped it off, and there was like a police barricade around it, which makes sense, but I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tightly secured
cool,
nowadays. Yeah.
But the famous skyline with like the Essex House sign and like, so we sat there, watched the sunset, and then we ended up going
Home Alone
to
3.
like from home 2.
2?
Yeah, Lost in New York.
Oh.
And then we went to the World Trade Center Memorial.
Wow.
Which, oh my God, I've never been so moved in my life.
That's cool.
The new World Trade Center is huge. Like it's I think the
just
tallest
the outside
building.
part. Did you go into the inside?
It was closed at that point.
Right.
So we saw the tower. We saw the memorial.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
That's really cool.
There's a tree there that survived the original
Really?
attack. It like was the only tree that survived. So they've got it like a special place. And that we talked a lot that day about like things that have auras, because there was this. It was a Bible, but it was like a really old Bible and like was encrusted in gold and jewels.
Bible.
Older than the Gutenberg.
Older than the Gutenberg Bible?
Yeah. But it was like this handwritten, like really ancient, and it just had this aura, and the tree had that same aura. Tolkien's original map had the same aura, like just the stuff that is so important,
Powerful,
and meaningful. And so we did that. We took the subway, which was an experience.
The subway have the aura?
The subway had a lot of dirt.
Had a different aura.
A homeless man came and was like, "I don't do drugs, I don't kill people. I'm proud of who I am." That was cool, but I didn't have any cash, so I just kind of ignored him. Which I always feel weird around homeless people, which is maybe a shitty thing. Like I don't.
What was I gonna say? We went about auras though. We did a lot of resupplying for our food for our backpacking trips in Sedona, Arizona, which is like a really interesting town.
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it, but I've heard the name.
So there's a lot going on. Like first off, there's this big retirement community because it's Arizona. It's in the south. Like
those old folks getting their sun.
Right, getting the sun belt. It's like a big retirement community in Arizona in general, but also in Sedona. There's also this huge outdoor industry in Sedona, like some rock climbing, some hiking, some mountain biking, like outdoorsy folk. But there's also apparently, I don't want to yuck somebody else's yum. I'm sure it's totally valid, but there's it's a vortex, an energy vortex, and like concentrating place for the energy of the world. And there's several of these vortexes around the world, but Sedona, Arizona has one of them, and so crystal healing.
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
And an aura reading, like taking an aura picture and seeing where your chakras are aligned, is a real, like there's crystal shops everywhere and like mystics and just a big culture of that, which is really interesting. Like that's not something I get to see every day. And people are pretty open to that sort of stuff and are like, yeah.
So it's not like a physical vortex. It's like a...
No, it's an energy vortex. You wouldn't be able to see it.
See, because I'm such like a sci-fi guy, that was the first thing I pictured.
No, there's no black holes in Arizona. There might be, though, eventually. There's a black hole for your soul.
Did you see the picture of the black hole, by the way?
No, I kind of lost that.
Oh, dude, it was such a big morning. That was the day I shot a scene in my film where they go into a black hole, so it was the same day, so I was like, oh, now it's not scientifically accurate. But
how does that work? How'd they take a picture? Wouldn't that just suck the light in?
Well, it was a different kind of light. So, like, they...
Oh, they use, like, infrared.
Let me show you. I'll show you the photo.
Okay.
Because it's cool. So, like, people go to Sedona for this healing type stuff?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, a couple of my friends got their aura read, and they're like, their energy reading. It was interesting to hear from them what they saw from it.
So, yeah, this is a black hole.
Okay.
They basically turned the whole planet into one giant telescope.
The whole planet.
They aligned telescopes around the world to the same like frequency and alignment, and processed this data. This isn't visible light. This is
okay. Like radio.
Yeah, it's probably something like radio because it would only be the low level stuff that could escape. But yeah, I guess they've had this data for a long, long time, but it's like multiple terabytes of data they've been trying to download into one.
Takes a long time to
Yeah,
download.
so this was several years in the making.
You know how long it takes to download a movie that's like not even a terabyte? Takes a long
What
time.
movie are you downloading?
Never mind.
Was this legal?
Anyways. Just imagine like, oh, this is so. Gotta download 8 terabytes of black hole photo data.
So they released this one morning. It was like a Wednesday morning. I got up and I went to go to the bathroom, like brush my teeth and stuff, and I got a little ping on my phone. And I looked like NASA releases first ever photo of black hole, and this is like monumental.
What if it's just somebody's face?
Just like Bill Gates.
Gotcha. That's funny.
Or a black hole. I don't know. I was gonna make a joke about like something that takes your money and doesn't give back, but I couldn't think of like a specific example. Starbucks. College. Topical.
Loans.
But that very same, like later that night, I was gonna shoot a scene where my characters went into a black hole. So like it was kind of cool. Like, oh, NASA's advertising my film. That's very nice of them. That's gonna be nice audio.
Is that gonna work? Is that gonna?
It'll probably.
I accidentally hit my glass, like I'm making a toast.
Well, that's a way to like center your focus, right? It's like ring sounds like that. So listeners, I hope your focus is all.
It's now an ASM section of the podcast.
That's our new segment. Is we're
gonna hear the bell, start to meditate. No, that was totally an accident.
Exhale.
It's just fidgeting with things on the table.
As you do. I'm trying to think of like other cool things we did in New York. We what else did we do?
Should listen to the song "Welcome to New York" by Taylor Swift.
No, but I sang some Sinatra.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Because he's got New York, New York.
That
was the thing. Is like New York is like there's such like a musical motif for it in films and stuff. So I had like 30 different songs in my head, and every once in a while, like a couple bars would slip out, and I don't know, I didn't mean to sing in the middle of New York City.
That's funny.
We went and we went to Battery Park, which overlooks the Statue of Liberty out in New York Harbor. That was also a really sort of quieting moment, I guess. Like that was the crazy thing about New York was just like all these famous things: the Empire State Building, Rockefeller Center, St. Patrick's Cathedral, like Statue of Liberty. These are things that I know exist, like, but they're not like they're so disconnected, right? The Statue of Liberty is just the Statue of Liberty. But to like go down the street and like, oh, there it is. Like everything's just there, because it's all part of the city. But to sort of see the connectedness of it when it's all been so disjointed in my head, because I've only ever seen it on TV and like in movies. Yeah, that was really cool.
That's cool.
To be crossing the street and then like, oh, that's the Wall Street Bowl that I almost just walked by. Whoops. Oh, that's Broadway. That's where Hamilton is performed.
That's fun.
Times Square sucks.
Why is that? Because it's just too busy.
It's too busy. Too much capitalism is the official review I think I tweeted out.
Too much capitalism.
It's just advertising.
It's like the center of capitalism. Though.
Yeah,
it's like the center of the universe.
It was overwhelming, and like people were harassing women near me, like, "Go on, baby, smile for me," and stuff like that. Yeah. Some guy offered me drugs as I was walking. Like, I just wanted to.
No good.
No good.
No. That's not capitalism.
No, but like the screens were selling drugs.
Arguably
capitalism. But yeah, it was cool to like suddenly like look out in the harbor, and it was a ways off, but there's the Statue of Liberty and there's Staten Island Ferry.
That's pretty cool.
And you could see the planes sort of making a loop around New York Harbor because they have to like line up and get permission to land. It's so you just see like these different planes like in a line, and then slowly one of them would come around.
I flew through Newark Airport on the way back home.
Delaware?
What?
Newark, Delaware?
New Jersey.
That's right.
It was.
I don't know why I thought Delaware.
It was an interesting
I meant
experience. Jersey. Like all of my friends were like, "Oh, Newark." I know this isn't part of New York City, but it's close to New York City.
Well, yeah.
We're like, "Oh, Newark is the worst rated airport. It's so bad. Like you're gonna hate it. Oh, I can't believe we're flying through Newark." I was like, I don't have any experience with Newark Airport. Like, I'm not gonna judge it before I even go there. Like, come on, what? Like, trying not to have any expectations, and then our flight got delayed by like 2 hours.
So you're stuck in Newark Airport.
Stuck in the terminal, and it was just like, all right,
pretty bad.
I guess I see. It wasn't terrible, but it was like, yeah, okay, I see. Well, Newark isn't that great.
I've been to JFK. I haven't been to the Newark Airport. But
yeah,
JFK is nice. Mm-hmm. They had a Starbucks, as all airports I think do.
We're like stuck in a terminal though.
So that would suck.
Yeah, we're like stuck in the terminal, but there's like a circular terminal with like there's like a donut in the center of shops and like stuff. It was a coffee shop. It was really expensive, but
well, that's the thing is airport stuff is always the price jacked up.
Stuck there for a while, but it's all right.
Speaking of donuts, this is actually something I had written down to talk about. Also on this trip to the Hudson Valley, it was fun taking the train like to New York because you could like it went right through the Hudson Valley past West Point and stuff. So you saw
cool.
all the like where Alexander Hamilton lived and like just these like is a
Lot of
significant
history
location,
there,
a lot
for
of
sure,
history. But we went to a little town called Beacon, New York, which is it's kind of a touristy town. But we were walking. They had a Doctor Who cafe there. That's one of the reasons why, because I was intrigued by what that meant.
Okay.
It was just an old British lady who had a Doctor Who cafe that apparently like is pretty well known with like the people who make the show. But like regardless, there was money in this town. It was cute. It was
sure.
But we were walking. We stopped in this plant shop and then we walked out and we smelled fried dough. And both Ben and I looked at each other like that smells really good. So I said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to follow our noses. I don't care what this is, but we have to discover this. So we like sniffed our way down the street and turned the corner and there's this donut shop called Glazed Over, which is a great name for a donut shop.
It's a good name.
And we stopped and like we both sort of nodded and we went in because it smelled so good. And it's this they fry their donuts instead of like baking them.
Sure.
So it's like that's where the smell came from. And they have like a different icing and a different donut every week.
Oh.
So like you can get the icing of the week, the donut of the week.
Sure.
They had free samples.
Oh.
I bit into the free sample they had and just like, oh my god. You know the scene in Ratatouille where the guy takes a bite of Ratatouille and like is transported back to his childhood and everything was like okay and happy?
Yes.
That's what it felt like biting into this donut.
Uh-huh.
So we had to get this donut. You can like choose any toppings, any icing, any type of donut.
Ratatouille is a Pixar film?
Yes.
Okay.
I watched it recently with the film group that I run, and
It's the one with the mouse?
it's the one with the mouse. His name is not Ratatouille. His name is Remy. The internet gets very upset about that, apparently. I've seen lots of, like, discourse.
Yeah?
It's neither here nor there, but it's kind of a fun little... So we got our donuts, and we took them out of the... Like, we went down the street to eat them, and I bit into this donut. And you're going to make fun of me, but I bit into this donut and I saw God. Like, it was the best thing I've ever tasted in my life.
That's cool.
It was so heavenly. And so one of the things I want to talk about was just donuts.
Donuts.
What kind of donuts do you like? Like, what's your, if you could have your
eat
custom
donuts.
donut?
I don't eat donuts all that often.
That's sad. I
think the last time I ate donuts was when me and Joe were stuck on the highway, or like we got somebody donuts. We got donuts as a thank you for somebody giving us a ride back up to school because our car broke down. I think that was the last time I ate a true donut. So we had
a pure.
I've had like a muffin. I've had like, a cupcake, but I haven't had like a donut in a while. This was like over a year ago though.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
There's nowhere like Paula's is good for donuts here.
Yeah.
And like the cider mill, but.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Tim Hortons, Dunkin' Donuts don't quite have the same.
I mean, they have donuts.
Yeah, but they don't taste. They're processed, right?
Yeah, I like apple fritters, which apparently aren't donuts.
A fritter's different from a donut.
I know, but
that gets murky. Like,
right?
Is a cruller a donut?
I know.
Because
I was because at the shop, right? Where I forget what brand it was. It definitely wasn't a Tim Hortons because we were in Massachusetts, but
probably was Dunkin'.
Probably Dunkin'. Probably Dunks. Probably stuck at Dunks in, Mass, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
off the turnpike.
Dunks off the turnpike. Anyways. And
Red Sox. Go Pats.
My friends are gonna hate me. And and I was like, okay, I want to get a half a dozen donuts because it's me and my friend, and then my friend that's gonna give us a ride, and might as well just get 6 donuts, 2 donuts,
I guess,
whatever. And I was like, okay. She was like, what donuts would you like? I was like, okay, I'll get the one with the glazed donuts, a chocolate donut, one of those apple fritters. She's like, apple fritters and a donut. I was like, okay, that doesn't count. That doesn't count as one of the half dozen donuts.
What?
It's not a donut. I was like,
that's just semantics at that point.
That's exactly. Just would you please? It's gonna cost you more. I can't exactly ring that up in the same. It's like, you're killing me, Smalls. You can't put an apple fritter and a half dozen donuts. It bummed me out.
It would bum me out too.
Yeah. So.
I had a very sad donut experience this semester.
Uh-huh.
I started running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Okay.
It was my first time ever running it. It's lots of fun, whatever. But one night we met in this. It was I think it was the religion
Dungeon.
No. Nope, that was the Inquisition that had the religion dungeons. This was the religion common room.
Nobody expects the.
Look, it's John Cleese and all the others. They just burst through my window.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Where was I going? Oh, so we met in the religion common room to
Dungeons and Donuts. Is
yes.
this where this is going?
Well, no.
Oh.
So we're sitting and we're waiting, and I noticed on the table it's a box of Tim Hortons donuts. It's shut. It's just sitting in the corner.
Timmy Hose.
And my friends and I sort of look at each other like, those are free donuts.
Are they?
So we walk over, we open it. It was like these dry, just like must have been left there days ago.
Ew.
It was the most upsetting. That's not true. I've had more upsetting experiences, but it was like really sad in the moment.
That's no good.
It was very sad.
Donuts are meant to be eaten fresh.
Right. Well, that's why I like stuff like where they fry them on, like when they're made to order.
Right. You know Tim Hortons and Dunkin' Donuts. They're shipping those donuts in.
Yeah.
They ain't making those in the house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And we're gonna make a stand. This is our podcast is shifting to the donut revolution.
I don't know.
We're gonna sign our petition, donut.gov, and
Whatever.
we'll show Dunkin' Donuts who's boss.
Yeah. Yep.
But summer, when you go back to camp, beginning in June, end of May, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of next week. Yep. I'll be up there for a while.
Fast.
I know it's coming up real fast. Gotta start packing stuff up.
I should probably start doing that too. I leave
When do you leave?
mid-June. I
Oh,
think the
okay, so you
18th
got
I have
some
to be
time.
there. So I'll take the train out like I did last year.
When does your summer end?
Like 3 days before I go back.
Like August?
Yeah, end of August.
Okay. Well, end of August. Okay.
I tried to I wanted to leave like the second last session so I could come home and like.
Right.
I guess. Well, they don't have enough guys still.
Sure.
Yeah. Listeners, if you're interested in working at a camp,
well,
send us a message at whatever that website I said earlier is.
Yeah.
And you could be featured on the podcast. Actually, that's one of the things is you could like add those segments into your episode.
Right.
If we get
somebody
them.
asking for hi, I want to. No.
But yeah.
It'd be interesting.
When's your summer end?
Mid-August, yeah. If depending on what job I have on campus, it'll be right before I go back too. So I might come home, or I might come home to like pick up some stuff
and then
drop
head out.
and then head out.
That's sort of the plan for me.
Yeah, I'm going in the opposite direction though. Yeah. So we'll see.
You should come down to Ohio. Actually, no one should be in Ohio. Although you went out to Cleveland recently, right?
Yeah.
I was there too. Not the same day. I went the day after you did, but
really?
yeah. Because you went Tuesday, I went Wednesday.
Right. I didn't really go into Cleveland. I just picked somebody up and drove back.
I was right in. I think I mentioned this on the show before. I listened to this podcast called My Brother and Me.
Brother, where art thou?
No, good movie though. It's these three brothers. I've definitely talked. They also have a Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Brother Darjeelings.
Yes.
Is that how that movie goes? Anyways.
But they do live shows like around the country.
Cool.
And I was doing homework one day and I got a little email from them. Not a little email. It was like a full
directed towards
email.
you.
Well, I signed up for their mailing list.
Gotcha.
And this email said, "Hey, we're going on tour soon. Here's all the locations." And the first one, May 15th, was Cleveland.
That's cool.
And I'm 2 hours from Cleveland. So
right.
I was like,
yeah.
well. So I bought a ticket the day tickets went on sale. 4th row.
Nice.
Didn't have a ride out when I bought the ticket, but I just kind of figured because that was after finals and it had been such a shitty semester. I figured like this is how I'm gonna celebrate.
Right. Somebody else. Yeah.
So I ended up getting a ride.
Cool.
It was cool.
It was a good show. I've never gone to a podcast show before.
It was weird, but it was also so there was like they had like the first act was an opening like band that it was like this comedic band.
Okay.
And then the second act was these brothers.
Right.
So I sat down for the first act and I'm having a good time. Some people from Buffalo were sitting behind me, so we had a nice conversation.
Oh, that's fun.
Lights come down and Justin McElroy comes out on stage with a glass of wine. He's one of the brothers.
Oh, okay.
Comes out with a glass of wine, and that was like mind blowing because you listen to these people.
McConaughey.
You're just doing word association. That's not.
You said Matthew McConaughey.
I said Justin McElroy.
Oh, okay.
But like seeing these guys who like voices I'm pretty familiar with.
Right.
But they're there. I can see the sweat on their foreheads.
Have you seen them in person before?
I mean, I've seen like videos of them, but this was my first time seeing them right in front of me.
Right.
Bring audience members on stage, do magic tricks.
They're a magic podcast?
No, but someone sent in a question because like they do. It's like an advice show basically, but
okay.
it's like bad advice.
Sure.
And this person, I guess,
bad advice show.
it's like a comedy thing.
Oh, okay.
This person does magic tricks. They're good. They work. It's like their job, but they're not very good at it. And the kids whose shows they go to make fun of them.
I think you call that a magician.
They're a magician. Poof. and they wanted to know like how they could do their tricks better. So they invited this person up on stage to do a magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, they don't do that normally, but like the audience, they got a standing ovation, and it was just really, really cool to be in the fourth row I was wearing a shirt with bananas on it. I have this, it's a button-up shirt that's just covered in bananas. I got a bunch of compliments from people in the audience. They're like, cool shirt, Banana Boy.
Banana Boy. Nice.
Thanks. And we're at the 50-minute mark, so we should probably...
50 minutes? I mean, we put out an hour and a half long episode last time.
Who listened to that? We could go a little longer.
I listened to it all the way through.
It's a good episode.
Yeah, it's great.
I edited it. I set up my hammock on campus and just sat with a water bottle full of not water. I'm not going to say what it was on the show. It was...
Iced tea. Sure.
Spilled all over my backpack. It wasn't ideal.
Oh, that's not good.
But I sat in a hammock editing this podcast episode. It was amazing.
That's cool.
And there wasn't much editing to do, because the nice thing about 3 people is like there's not really any long pauses
Right, it's pretty constant unless you get up to go get water in the middle of it.
or go to the bathroom. I was worried I'd have to find the flush. Because last year, because I lived in a room with a bathroom right off it, and so sometimes I'd like have to find the flush, and like if you were talking,
right,
I'd have your part go and then go and just cut the flush out.
That's fun.
But there was no flush. That was a fun episode.
That was a good one.
We had a good like run. I think when we recorded over winter break, like, we had a really good run.
Yeah, we had a great run. Yeah, we'll probably get 1 or 2 in here. Yeah.
And then back on hiatus.
But
I feel like next year.
Back on hyenas.
Hiatus. I forgot it, but it's fun to like read the descriptions. I don't know if you ever read the descriptions I write.
I never read any descriptions of anything.
That's sad, because I put like little jokes in there.
Oh, yeah.
The one I was like, well, we sing some Disney songs. Don't sue us. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. Not really. Not on the air.
Valid. I'm trying to think what else was on my... I had donuts on my list.
I didn't have a list.
I had a list written on my whiteboard that I took a picture of, but my phone's out there.
I see.
I had New York. Reality. I had reality on that list.
Reality.
You know how we had like a whole run of existential dread?
Yeah.
Do you want to add on to that?
I'm not really in that phase right now, to be honest with you.
Because I had an existential dread realization at work one day.
How did it go?
Well, I was eating lunch. I was just... Because my job is basically I sit in the cinema house on campus, and if people need help, I help them. If there's a screening, I run the movie.
Okay.
Mostly it was I did my homework, or I played Dungeons and Dragons a bunch. I like invited my friends over to play D&D while I was on the clock.
Nice.
Which was great.
Cool.
So I was just eating lunch one day, and I was just thinking about reality. Right? Because we all perceive...
It's such a stoner thing for you to say.
I was
You're
sober.
not a stoner.
I was just sitting there like...
Oh, reality, man.
But you know how we all interpret the world slightly differently because of the way our senses operate.
Yes, there are many ways of knowing.
Which means there is no perceivable objective reality.
I suppose so.
Like
Except to yourself.
Except to yourself, but there's no like universal, perceivable, objective truth.
Everybody's just making it up all the time.
But I hadn't thought about it before.
Nobody actually knows.
No.
Nobody's actually right, ever.
We can't be.
No.
Because someone would
both
have to decide
terrifying
what's
and
right.
comforting.
Well, it was terrifying, so I just shoved it down. And
no, but it's also very comforting.
Well, I sort of came to that realization, but the realization of there is no reality.
I was telling a friend of mine that pretty much same thing one time. We were on a walk around campus.
Was this around the Common? Was one of those walks?
No, yes. And we're talking about reality and like, oh, isn't it?
As you do.
Like, nobody actually knows. Like, nobody's completely sure. Like, even the most smart people in the world and scientists, like, everybody, they're just trying their best. Like, They don't even know the answer for sure anytime. We're all just trying our best. And I was like, isn't that so? And at the same time, I said comforting and they said terrifying. And it was like, it was beautiful. It was just perfectly timed. And, like, such a great expression of, like, yeah, it's both terrifying and
well, I think that's existence, right? It's terrifying. We're all just sort of screaming into the void doing our best. But also, like...
have a donut.
Yeah.
You know?
Live your life.
It's a great place to end it, I feel like.
Have a donut, listeners.